We are back into the game. Underway. Here we go. Copenhagen Wolves versus Gambit. This is game 5. And it is, of course, week 3 of the European LCS. Diamond on that Rek'Sai, heading his way through his own jungle to start this one off.
And this basically is a must-win for both the teams, because you don't want to sit alone down in the bottom of the standings. Copenhagen Wolves obviously already secured one win, but then lost to MYM last week, a game they should have won. I mean, if you consider that MYM was playing with Belisa as sub, and the Copenhagen Wolves managed to lose anyway.
Yeah. Back to this one. Nick was hanging out in that top side with the Ahri. Freeze made his way up there. It indicates potential lane swap. However, you do have Youngbuck also in this top side to start this one off.
Yeah, so Gragas is a very strong top laner in a lane swap. He's very hard to dive. He can farm with his Q, obviously, in the lane. And Cabochard is going AP. He started Thorn Shield, but he's gotten 29 AP in terms of runes and masteries for himself. The thing is, though, you would actually have a fairly decent 2-on-2 lane with Lucian and Lulu. A lot of early pressure you could apply. But for now, it looks like Gambit will actually swap it around. Or will they actually try to predict where Copenhagen Wolves are going, because Freeze himself, he was looking for that swap here with the Leona Kalista lane, and now Gambit actually managed to counter it and get that 2-on-2 lane. Yeah,
Cabochard's actually just waiting for the moment to see if they're going to spot this one out. So Freeze making a move himself up to that top side, and now Unlimited is actually backing off. He should be joining the Kalista there.
And you see the ward Gambit had placed in the lane. It just disappeared in the top lane now. That was just trying to spot if Copenhagen Wolves had Freeze or Unlimited move in to build up that big wave coming. This means there's not going to be any Freeze, but seeing as we're going to have a standard lane matchup anyway, it's just going to be about pushing it down, because nobody started with a camp. Cabochard picking up this one for himself for the early level 2, and then he can actually go back to base, get a few more potions, teleport down to the bottom lane, and already be level 2.
Yep. Normal lanes, except they're just a little bit topsy-turvy here. You see the start of this one. Cabochard does spend that teleport. Youngbuck will have a slight advantage on that one, but so early doesn't really matter too much unless teams want to do something crazy like a really early dragon. So far doesn't look to be the case, as you see Pinoy and Edward giving what they can to this bottom lane in the top.
Yeah, look at this lane up here again, straight onto Freeze. Lulu is so strong in the first few levels. He has a lot of damage. Leona will not be able to respond, and that's again why Gambit wanted this 2-on-2 lane, so they can really try and deny the Kalista pick some farm early on. Sadly though, Youngbuck is starting with a Dawn's Shield. Normally you just do see a Dawn's Blade on Kennen to just get a bit more lane harass with his auto attacks here, but actually going for the very defensive route.
And he's trying to stay pretty safe here. He is getting a little bit of poke on, but Cabochard has that level advantage. You mentioned he started the Krug earlier. Diamond is looking to come in here. A little bit of a land shark, rift shark, if you will. Making his way, Youngbuck.
Oh,
still a little bit forward. There we go. Gonna flash. Oh, he missed it. He flashes way too early, and Cabochard will pick him up. Youngbuck, not a good start to this game.
No, and I feel like we've seen this before from the Copenhagen Wolves. They didn't know where Rek'Sai was starting, so they didn't know if Diamond was on the bottom side of the map here. Instead, though, fairly easy gank being set up. No flashes used by Gambit either. Just Youngbuck in the middle of the lane. You get the body slam, obviously the knockup from Diamond, and that's first blood for Gambit here.
Yeah, Youngbuck, well, he's had some trouble in the KDA department, second lowest in the European League right now. And it's actually behind Nick, and that might hurt him a little bit more for that not so prestigious title. Now Soren is in a little bit of trouble himself. Diamond really making his mobility known. Nick, flat charm, going forward, and they found Soren. Diamond picks up that kill.
Yeah, Diamond really making some moves early on here. That was a nice little setup. He was waiting for that flash from Soren, and then he just followed, knocked him up, and then he knew there was a kill for Gambit again. Really, really good start by Diamond, showing this Rek'Sai power early on. And so far from Airwax, picking that list internet to try and counter some of that early aggression. Not been in the right place at the right time yet.
Diamond keeps making plays like that. We'll have to change the Rek'Sai music to the Jaws theme. Really, really getting aggressive early on in this game. Now Cabochard has still not so much level advantage just now, but he has pressured Youngbuck, who's actually keeping up in the farm. We'll take a look at that score, the vote. Definitely in Gambit's favor over Copenhagen Wolves to start this one off. Still very early into the game, but Gambit have definitely grabbed an edge to begin it.
Yeah, perfect start for Gambit. You get the lane matchup you want. You get 2 early ganks from Diamond that all pays off. You're going to get a very early Rod of Ages on the Gragas here. We talked about how different build routes you can take on an AP Gragas, and we haven't seen him in a while. But Rod of Ages into just standard AP Death Cap, obviously an Outlast later on and so on. Void Stuff has been the standard build. Would make sense in this comp when you have him and the Lulu together to kite somewhat long-range poke here, and then obviously the Lucian Ari just waiting for these picks on their side. Very mobile comp from Gambit coming in. Every single guy can actually either speed himself up or dash around.
Definitely seems to be working for them so far in this laning phase, and Diamond still hanging around in the middle, not going to find anything there as Soren learned the lesson from previously. Is going to be hanging in the back to at least hit a much more comfortable level. But Freeze and Unlimited in this top lane have been pushed back quite far by Pinoy, and we haven't seen as much Lucian lately, but he is still that lane bully that can push you back with quite a lot of damage, especially with the help of Edward.
So we saw the level 1 and 2 go in favor of Gambit because of the Lulu pick, but as soon as you get past those levels, it's not exactly too hard for Freeze to actually sit and farm, and that's what he's been doing. And actually is ahead in CS compared to Pinoy, who must have missed quite a lot of CS in this lane, otherwise he shouldn't be this far behind, because it's not like Freeze and Unlimited is trading back towards Gambit. Always the lane being pushed down towards them. Clearly Freeze just been doing a better job getting the CS.
Yeah, he really has been getting a bit better of that one. You have a point, but all the same, it's definitely a little bit of a comfortable pick for him going on that Kalista right now. Kabashard teleports back down to the bottom side. Really no bones about spending that as soon as he can have it available again. Diamond still roving around. This time he clears out the Gromp.
Already level 6 here.
Yeah, this is danger zone.
It's gonna be scary. There's no lane wards in the bottom lane, so you can sneak into the bushes. Remember, Kabashard has his ulti, and there's no flash on Youngbuck, so just knock him back with the ulti into the knock-up of Diamond, and then Youngbuck is dead once again. We might have to go for the dive, because the lane is pushing in.
Yeah, Diamond's debating how long he wants to hang around here,
Yeah.
but Youngbuck definitely not taking the bait. You see, after those 2 kills, Copenhagen Wolves just fall back to a very passive strategy in the solo lanes.
Yeah, well, again, you have no flash on the cannon here. You have no wards on the bottom side except for one in the tri-bush, so you just had to stay back from Youngbuck, and that's why also Gambit decided to back away, and instead actually took Edward and Pinoy from the top lane, swapped them down bottom lane, and instantly just went for Dragon before Copenhagen Wolves could react in time. So that's what they did use the push in the top lane for, because obviously Freeze wanted to stay and clear out the last few minions, and that's what Gambit had a few seconds in their favor to get this Dragon picked up very early on. And
I like that.
Diamond straight back to farm.
Instantly back to farm. He didn't even have Smite available for that. Really nice opportunistic play and just capitalizing on the Wolves not really being anywhere to try and contest that. Airwax, you know, on this Lee Sin, he really hasn't done much of anything to start this one off. We haven't really seen him try to make plays. Now Nick does not get the charm connect, but he will find some more damage on his Soren. There he is, the dive in. Nick might have gone a little too far forward. Airwalks though, also very low. Soren going forward, and it is Airwalks who does finally come up and make the play.
And Airwax here flashed out of the orb when he actually returned back to Nick. In the end, pick up the kill, but wow, Nick really diving in for that kill under the turret as well. Ends up dying for it, and it's really not been a good split for Nick so far. You mentioned earlier how he's the lowest player in terms of KDA in the entire league.
Yeah, a little.
He really needs to step it up.
That's kind of partially why right there we just saw. He goes in, tries to make the big play. The problem is he was under tower. He was out of his spell rotation. It just seemed to be some questionable decision making there. And you know, we could say the same about Youngbuck, but he seems to have learned his lesson a bit more.
Yeah, he was staying back. Let's see it again. So notice how there's no ward to try and spot Airwax, and yet Nick, just respect the fact he might be there and keep diving. Missed the charm, keep going for the next one. He wants to land the last orb, and that's where again Airwax just jumps in. Notice how he's flashing out of it on the way back to Nick, so he doesn't take that true damage. And then in the very end, snipes him and kill him. But no wards to try and spot Airwax, yet went for a very risky dive. Didn't pay off for Nick at all.
Yeah, he's going to be set a little bit more behind by doing that. Assist up for Soren. Airwax gets the kill. Now he's going to be able to clear that one pink board out. Airwax now a little bit more coming around, going to grab himself a Stellar Crab. Everything else continues to just be a little bit of a slap fest. Still very close in the gold, but Gambit is leading by just a bit. The Dragon also helping them out.
They're getting the early stats from that Dragon here, but really, you just don't want Soren to get going on this Cassidy because you want to be able to deal with Freeze and not really have to worry too much about the rest. And a Cassidy who gets a good start suddenly becomes a focus point every single time.
And Nick does have to use his Spirit Rush and his Flash to get out of harm's way. And talk about some positional errors. He has committed just a couple there. Gets out alive that time, but still real trouble. You think maybe Diamond's going to pay him a visit sometime soon.
Well, it's pretty tough for Rex at least to gank a Kassadin in this late game, but if you can find the Lee Sin obviously in the one-on-one, whoever gets to jump there will be winning that small trade, especially also now with Skirmisher's Saber for Diamond. He does it every time, so he wants to have this damage reduction for late game team fights onto someone like the Kalista with 20% damage reduction, and he also wants that extra advantage in case he finds the enemy jungler in a one-on-one. But for now, Nick misses another charm.
Yeah, he does.
Diamond is here though.
Diamond. Yeah, they're going to be able to turn this around a little bit more, but they need to connect more damage. Diamond a lot onto Soren, forcing him to rift walk away as Airwax was no help at all in that situation. They should be able to start shoving some damage onto this turret.
Yeah, a lot of minions here for Gambit. Get a bit of damage on this one. Soren not able to jump in and wave play. He's way too low for that one. Now finally Airwax joins in and actually teleport behind from Youngbuck.
Yeah, he's going to try to make the play here. Teleported behind. Here we go. Nick and Diamond caught in a little bit of trouble. There we go. The Maelstrom slices and dices, and Airwax comes up with another kill. Diamond makes his escape though.
Yeah, nice little setup, but you're going to lose a lot on this top turret here. No teleport to come back. There should be a tower for Gambit if Cabochard stays. For now, he's actually expecting Youngbuck to return to the top lane. Just to need the next wave before he realizes, okay, he's actually not. Should be able to take that tower and have teleport. Same timing actually, because Cabochard teleported to the ward behind way too late, had to cancel it, so actually wasted it for him. So this tower will go down. Or will it?
Cabochard is slowly pecking away there. Youngbuck's missed out on a bit of farm.
Okay, he's gonna stay alive, but it's so low, so basically you send out one guy to the top lane and you just push it down with Cabochard, and that's gonna be a turret.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. Now, Youngbuck has actually not done a terrible job of keeping gold relevant in this one. He is going for the early Zhonya's, as you mentioned, and of course a no-brainer there. Didn't really need it in that last engage, but he missed out on some farm, didn't quite pick up the kill. However, he's not in the worst situation that we've seen him in so far this split.
No, and that's obviously despite him dying to the very first gank of Diamond when he was level 3. Then Youngbuck just stay back and play fairly passive after. His mid turret is taking a lot of damage though, and also the top turret is very low, so there's 2 outer turrets here Gambit can pick up very easily and get that global gold lead that they want to get. Because when you play Ahri as well, you want to abuse that mid game where you are so strong and where you can create these picks with the charm. And obviously you want to make sure Freeze isn't allowed to sit there and get his Hurricane, get potentially his BT or his Blade of the Ruined King, depending on which one he decides after the Hurricane itself will be the BT from Freeze in this game, because we know how strong he is in these team fights on the Kalista.
And he's got a little bit more attack speed with the daggers as well. So still going to have quite some time before he ramps up incredibly effectively, but the Copenhagen Wolves aren't doing too terrible of a job. They are going to lose another outer turret, though. They actually send 2 members here, Diamond and Cabochard, to finish that one off. Down it goes, splitting the gold between them. And now Copenhagen Wolves are looking to try and line up a dragon here, and there is actually a good window of opportunity to take this. It's 15 seconds until it comes back up, clearing away the Rek'Sai tunnels before they start to shove in on this mid tower.
Yeah, that was very important by Copenhagen Wolves. As soon as they saw 2 guys top, they actually walked down to clear the wards. But Diamond is coming into this mid lane. That tunnel they did manage to clear. Got the rest though to try and stop Diamond from actually coming to this dragon. Notice Cabochard, after taking top turret, walking from the lane, so it's going to be a 5 versus 5 here.
Yeah, didn't have his teleport available. He does think the long way, but Gambit now, they've been able to defend successfully. Copenhagen Wolves a little bit greedy to try to grab that tower. Aren't going to be able to get this dragon for free at all if they can even secure it. Big Orb of Deception on Airwax and Unlimited now. Prey Seeker as well to try and zone them out. Sentinel going to hopefully spot away a little bit. Not much before it goes down. Here comes Soren diving in forward, but he might have overstepped his bounds. Has to flash away Diamond. They're going to send her on Unlimited. Here comes the cannon. Do they have the damage? A big barrel knocks them all back. Pinoy takes down Airwax. There will be no smite available for this one. Do the Copenhagen Wolves disengage? Not quite yet. But Diamond is also incredibly low in this one. Very risky dragon for either team to attempt to take. Hesitatingly back away.
And Gambit just going to be happy with that 1 kill. We saw in this team fight here how the cannon ulti basically can be useless. When you engage onto him and he's not able to go onto your backline here because Copenhagen Wolves weren't feeling confident of taking the fight, Youngbuck just had to pop it and only deal some damage to Diamond, and that was basically it. He has no Hourglass yet, so he wouldn't really be able to do too much. And Gambit gets a kill for it, defends the mid lane, but Dragon is still alive at this point.
Yeah, Youngbuck really needs that little bit of extra gold. He's about 100 away from that needlessly large rod, but they've not been able to grab any towers, and On the other side, Gambit, they're going to get that last outer turret courtesy of Pinoy and those minions.
Yeah, and with Gambit winning the laning phase, and actually every single lane, it means they've gotten all these towers down now and have a big gold lead. If you look at just 15 minutes in on 3,000 here, 0 turrets from the Copenhagen Wolves, haven't been able to do anything other than sit back and just farm. Gambit gotta push the edge here, push the advantage. They have the Lucian, they have the Iris, they have a strong mid game already. Gragas, of course, as well. Can't forget about him.
Yeah. The Wolves.
Saves and get the Dragon.
They're going to try to fight this. Yeah, Diamond actually. Here we go. Tried to steal it away. No, it's not going to be enough, but Unlimited going to start the fight off anyways. Gambit able to disengage from that one with just a little bit of poke from the Copenhagen Wolves. Another Dragon goes over, actually surprisingly bloodless.
There was no ulti from Youngbuck here, so he wasn't able to do anything in the fight. And we just saw Leona go in, and then when you feel like, okay, we can't get the right engage, so we just move it back out, obviously, with the ulti from Kalista. But mid tower is in trouble. Youngbuck teleporting into defend it.
On a minion just behind, and he doesn't even get an auto attack in. Gambit have grabbed that one easily. They're actually trying to bait this one out a little bit with Diamond. He seemed a bit indecisive. Does take a bit of damage for his trouble, but they've still managed to grab quite a lot.
Yeah, you see the disengage from Gambit here. You have the Gragas barrel. Of course, you have Lulu to slow down whoever is chasing you. This was basically just Gambit having the better position on the Dragon towards the mid lane. So as soon as the Dragon was down, they could just quickly rotate there, take a tower as well, even get the teleport from Youngbuck. So you're going to have that global advantage now for Capuchat to put some pressure on the top lane, and then potentially TP down in case we have a fight going on. So far, Gambit winning out in this early game. Haven't been able to do anything to Freeze and Kalista, who's been farming really well.
Yeah, still got to defend this mid-turret. Copenhagen Wolves really need this gold, and they should be able to secure it. There it goes. Poke down at the end. However, still, that is their first. It's going to be a bit of a climb back, as there is a 3,000 plus gold advantage sitting in Gambit's favor, not to mention a couple of dragons and several towers they've been able to get.
Yeah, now we have to see if Gambit has improved from the last few weeks, because they tend to be a team who doesn't really invest into vision control, who doesn't win through strategy, just through basically brute force your way into the enemy jungle, find the pick, go to the dragon, take a team fight, win that one. That's how they won IM Cologne, obviously beating CLG in the final. But here in the LCS, they have been punished for the lack of warding on the map. Now they have 4 ping wards just being picked up. I like to see this from Gambit. It's a good move. Knowing you are stronger at this point, get into the enemy jungle. Not the jungler, that would be wrong. Get into the enemy jungle instead. Place down these wards here, deny vision from Copenhagen Wolves, and whenever Freeze is sitting in a side lane farming or Soren, go towards them, kill them, take the turrets here, push down every single lane, set up these slow pushes, and that's how you need to kind of freeze out the Copenhagen Wolves.
Well, on the enemy jungler's side, Airwax has really been the standout in picking up the kills. I don't even know if they really needed to secure them that way, because those couple of instances he's been involved and picked those up. I feel like the money could have been better spent giving it to Soren, or giving it even, over to someone else in that situation. So Copenhagen Wolves are in a bit of a rut here, just not being able to really make use of their comp to the best of their abilities.
Now, for now, again, the Copenhagen Wolves just want to farm. You have your Hurricane completed now on Freeze, meaning his team fighting potential just went up quite a lot here. Big power spike for him. He needs the BT as the next item. He needs to sustain, he needs the shield, so you can play more aggressive here. Jump around and obviously get the ring stacks. And now,
here we go,
going towards Pinoy.
Yep, he's actually caught in a pretty bad spot himself, and no team will be able to get to him just yet. Actually, heal is popped. He finally goes down as Freeze picks him up. Diamond was there a little bit late. Wild Growth to keep him a little bit bigger. Here comes Cabo Shard. Do they have the damage? Airwax a little bit low. Exhaust is down on Soren. Rift walks away. Unlimited burning his flash. Summoners all over the place. Do they have the damage to finish off Unlimited? I think they do, and the Leona death count continues this week.
Yeah, not a good week for Leona so far, but Pinoy right here should never be able to die. You are the stronger team at the moment. You have just placed a few wards. You saw the Copenhagen Wolves clear those wards, and yet Pinoy, he just kept pushing down all alone, ends up, of course, dying. Luckily, though, Gambit can come in with the rest of the team and back him up, while Youngbuck, without that teleport we talked about before, was stuck in the lane.
Let's take a look at that one again. Fate's Call all the way, yeah. Pinoy just got totally separated from his team, but they were able to still get back in there and just make a massive play on the Copenhagen Wolves.
Again, they are strong, Gambit, so they get the fight here. Nick obviously still sitting in the mid lane, but Diamond tanking it up. Cabochard with the Rod of Ages on this Gragas here, able to do a lot. And just basically grind out the Wolves, get that last kill, but still, Pinoy should never be caught out right there. You should be the one with the vision control. You should be able to see Copenhagen Wolves move around and not suddenly lose randomly your AD carry down.
Very true. But after that, it was a 3v4, and then Gambit still wins that one. So
imagine if it had been a 4v4.
Yeah, it would have been a lot different story. And they were even able to teleport to defend their turret from Youngbuck, who was pushing away in the bottom side. So overall, Gambit does come out ahead in terms of the tower they were able to grab after the fact. But yeah, still uncharacteristic mistake from Pinoy there.
Yeah, we did see Gambit though save all the pink wards because they've already picked up 2 dragons. Next one is spawning in about a minute. And that's why we see them actually after this whole, after all the action we saw in the top lane, went back to base, straight to dragon, placed these 2 pink wards here, trying to set up a massive area around it where you can see everything. And now again, you can see the Copenhagen Wolves walking towards you. You pick the fight, you get this dragon, 3-0 suddenly, and then it becomes so hard for the Wolves because they're going to be forced to fight later on for the 4th and the 5th one.
Yeah, they need to deny this next one if they possibly can. Dragon about half a minute away. Airwax actually a little bit more preoccupied clearing out vision in that Baron side brush. Still Gambit in the better position to try to contest this one, but with freeze and unlimited, Airwax was walking up the middle, realized might just be a trap.
Yeah, and you have no wards around the dragon. Gambit needs to go down and defend the pink wards here. Don't place them and walk away. So they're instantly moving now from this mid lane. That's a good move now by Gambit. Playing it correct around this one. And
Soren is in some trouble.
That's
Nick
what happened.
Does manage to get the assassination off there. First kill of the game for him, and this should be a Gambit Dragon number 3.
When you play the Ahri and you have all these pink wards placed, so basically the enemy team is face checking you, you can create these picks here. That was a good move by Gambit. They defended the pink wards, got the kill onto Soren. Will be a dragon as well for them. 3 dragons now.
What have they given up for it, too? Just the tower that Youngbuck was finally able to fire down. Yeah, he'd already lost the outer and the inner on that top side. So Copenhagen Wolves get a little bit more gold back in their pockets. All the same, Gambit are really starting to roll forward, and it seems like the Wolves are caught a little bit earlier in the game than Gambit is.
And Unlimited, right, he actually went from the mid lane to top lane after the tower went down. He was expecting Kapajat to be there to try and defend, and then they could kill him 2v1. But it simply meant he was actually missing down his bottom, and he's here now.
It's called. They've caught Pinoy again. Okay, he's in a little bit of trouble now. He's going to burn his flash. Never mind. They're going to be able to keep pushing on him. Exhaust is down. Wild Growth is out. Oh, the barrel. They knock him backwards. Freeze. They get the kickoff with Airwax. They can still turn this fight. Pinoy and Eddie go down. Nick trying to dodge and dive his way out of harm's way, but Freeze and the rest of the team not keen on giving it to him. A double kill for that Kalista.
3 kills for the Copenhagen Wolves. Pinoy again being caught out of position. They engage onto him, basically just pick up Unlimited, throw him towards Pinoy. Then he can't miss all his CC, and Gambit, I mean, they're making some good moves, but then they make it harder and harder for themselves. Notice here again, Pinoy all alone. The rest of his team had already disengaged. They're far away from him. They do manage to save him in the start, but he's so low that as soon as Soren actually joins in, he will end up dying. And now, suddenly Gambit are lacking some damage because Nick and Diamond are trying to deal with Youngbuck down on this bottom lane. He actually ends up staying alive, and at the very end just trading between Freeze and Nick.
Yeah, they do manage to take each other out there, but it really was just cleanup duty for the Copenhagen Wolves at that point. They thundered a little bit back in. Now, can they grab something out of this? There's no dragon available to take. It's still very, very risky to attempt a Baron, especially as low as they were after that and not in the right place. However, they have shored up a bit more gold.
Yeah, we have to remember Copenhagen Wolves, if they do want to take a Baron later, you do have Kalista and her Rend stacking up to insane amount of damage from her, as long as she gets to actually apply a few spears onto the Baron beforehand, and then combine that with the smite from Lee Sin. You will be able to take it down fairly fast. It's going to be near impossible for Gambit to try and steal it if the Copenhagen Wolves manage to get a goal lead and actually can set up this Baron here. It won't be right now, because Dragon is still the focus point for Gambit, and where they're investing all their pink wards. They just need to stop being caught out of position, because that lead they built up beforehand is getting smaller and smaller.
A couple more wards being placed in this bottom side for Gambit as they try to maybe figure out what the hell went wrong there. Shake off the rust from that last fight. Copenhagen Wolves a little bit revitalized here. Still down in gold, about 2,000, but they have a couple of opportunities to push in here. Roaming together as 4 as Again, Youngbuck has really been kind of off on his own, just trying to split waves. It's worked out reasonably well in these situations. He's not going to teleport up, though, if they need him for 5.
He's been able to get 2 towers and a lot of side lane, or sorry, 1 tower in the top lane and a lot of side lane farm. But I'm looking at Cabochard here, so he's going for Frozen Heart, so he's obviously building tanky after this Rod of Ages. I'm not sure I like it, because now you basically rely on Pinoy and Nick to deal all the damage in these team fights. Obviously, the Rek'Sai has decent damage, but will fall off the later we get into the game. So now you're all about this double damage threat of Nick and Pinoy, and there's enough dive potential from Copenhagen Wolves to always take out one of the carries in the fight, and suddenly the Gambit lineup won't have enough damage. They will never be able to assassinate Freeze, and AP Gragas, combined with the likes of an Ahri, would have been able to jump in and kill him in every single team fight, but no, actually going for the tanky style.
Yeah. For a second we lost something, but the turret got blown up after that. You see Nick now pushing down the bottom side, trying to do a bit of a split of his own, while the rest of Gambit, I don't know if the collapse would have been recommended. There were only 3 members really there. So you'll see them back away now. Looks like the Copenhagen Wolves have successfully fended that one off. Gambit a little unsure what they wanted to do.
Yeah, they got a bot lane turret there, so not a bad move by Gambit, using Nick as a split pusher, who is, despite a fairly bad start to the game, he's actually been pretty strong on this Ahri, and going towards the Death Trap next item for him, Abyssal Scepter. As we often see an Ahri now again, this is what we talked about in Champs, like how she's no longer purely about just one-shotting a target like DFG Charm and just blow up someone who face checks you. It's more again the consistent damage you can do in a fight, and that's where Abyssal Scepter, in that extra tankiness and obviously reducing EMR from the Copenhagen Wolves, really works well on her, dancing around with that extra mobility from the Q as well in 5.2.
Building up pretty close to that death cap as well. Needs still about 300 gold to manage it. However, Copenhagen Wolves doing a good job of pushing out the waves, or at least pushing them back when Gambit is making it happen. And you know, this has kind of settled into a bit of the stalemate. This is sort of what we were seeing in the earlier part of the season and in the preseason, where it was sort of wait for Dragon, go get Dragon, wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, and not the first time we've seen Copenhagen Wolves just sit back and farm after falling behind the laning phase again and again and again. They have to just sit back and try and take what they can get. And honestly, we have to give them credit. They do a very good job of actually getting these picks. Whenever the enemy team makes a mistake, in this case it's been Pinoy twice being caught out now, they've gone for him, they've killed him every single time, got their kills onto Freeze as well, so they've been able to kind of claw their way back into the game. Like we saw against H2K, it was the same deal, and again they have a very, very strong late game combination of obviously Kalista and Kassadin together, and with Gambit going for this tanky Gragas, they will only have that double damage threat, which is going to make it hard for them to take down either Soren or Freeze in the late game fights, which will be a big problem for Gambit.
Definitely will be. Now Cabochard teleporting in, they're going to ping this one out, and immediately set up, see if they can take the fight. Dragon now live, they checked right into the barrel, might have been a little overzealous there. Soren going to work on clearing out, dodges all the damage actually from Nick. Nicely done, but Soren has to spend a little more mana to rift walk his way out of danger. On the Scuttle Crab Shrine, if Copenhagen Wolves can make Gambit fight here, they have the speed advantage.
Yeah, that was a very important ping ward Soren just killed, because that's the ward Gambit would use. Like, oh, they're going in.
Oh, wow, they didn't quite connect where they wanted to, but Diamond, he's in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get the wild growth on, but how much damage do they have? Unlimited, going extremely low, able to keep himself alive as Cabochard lumbers his way up to the side. No damage connecting, Youngbuck comes in. This is such a sloppy fight. Unlimited, finally going down to Pinoy. They flash out, they've traded 80 carry for support. That's not over yet though. Diamond flashing his way back. I'm surprised he held on to it as long as he did.
Oh,
and is that going to be it? Yep. Goodbye, Grumpy.
Goodbye, Grump. So 1-for-1 again. I mean, these team fights, nobody really wants to commit, or they're missing the crucial skill shot. Cabochard came from behind, had to just back away instantly. Diamond is rejoining from base.
Oh, they lay the charm. Goodbye, Airwax. Eddie picks up that kill. Diamond procs, after backing for just a moment, comes right on back. Gambit should be able to take this. Airwalks isn't here, but still, the Copenhagen Wolves, they're going to try to do something. He's going to go right in the middle. Can they find Edward for the damage? Looks like they managed to secure their 4th dragon as well. Diamond in some trouble. Can he stay alive? Freeze, charmed up, trying to escape. Nick, not quite enough damage to pick him off. As soon as I say it, Freeze goes down. They're able to pick up even more. Soren Nick is so low now. Youngbuck should be able to mop him up, but he's just caught by the charm. Nick will finally die, and a barrel to seal the deal.
Barrels. I mean, I'm not even sure what's going on anymore here. Fight in the jungle first, then teleport back. Obviously, Rek'Sai ulti. Dragon went over to Gambit. Nick managed to get a double kill as well. So in the very end, Gambit can be fairly happy with that fight. Let's see it again. So they go on to Diamond first of all, throwing Unlimited, missing the first ulti. And they don't really want to go for Diamond because they know he's going to get the shield, the wild growth and everything from Eddie here. Notice Cabochard on your minimap. He's coming behind, but he's a tank Gragas. He's not going to kill anyone. So Freeze, still full HP. Youngbuck's ulti doesn't do anything. Exhaust, and he was basically out of range. In the very end, he gets a good flash in. But sloppy fight, I mean, I think the Grump is doing more damage than half the members in this game here, or at least in this team fight. Still staying alive. Soren.
Not really sure whose side he was on.
No.
I guess it must have been Gambit because Airwax finished him off.
him.
Yeah, this is just a little bit awkward. Now, Diamond eats a Solar Flare, and the Fate's Call, they're actually going to get a catch onto him here. They do have quite a lot of chase potential. Can they take down Diamond? They finally can. This is right by the Baron pit. However, still dangerous to start this one off, even without the charm available. Soren, the smite available, excuse me. Soren eats a charm on that one, and Gambit are going to be able to stall this one out, but it's just gotten so messy from both these teams. You said it before, I'm not even sure what's going on anymore.
No, not the first time we saw Gambit being caught out either. But Copenhagen have been very good at using this Leona-Kalista combination. You get that extra range for Leona by picking her up and throwing it towards whatever target you're trying to catch. And then obviously Seventh Blade, ulti, everything. So the Wolves have been able to punish Gambit again, but they have to worry about this 5th dragon coming in about 5 minutes time. They have to fight, but they were staying. The reason they started the dragon after actually going 1-for-1 in the team fight in the jungle was because again they knew they had to pick up that one dragon. That's why teleport back as well from Youngbuck. Gambit managed to secure it, which was the big deal in that one fight.
Yeah, so 10 to 10 is the kill line. It's only about a 2,000.
And not the skill line.
That's a little bit different. Score is the kill. I can't even talk what's going on in this game anymore. 4 dragons to Gambit ahead of the Copenhagen Wolves. That's really been making all the difference for them. But when they've been caught out and just missing a lot of these skill shots on both sides, it's really a very, very awkward set of team fights that we've seen coming out of them. Now, Gambit have all the inner turrets. Copenhagen Wolves only have the outer ones. But if Copenhagen Wolves can win a team fight, can force Gambit to fight on their own terms, they can start to turn the tables there.
Yeah.
Gambit, you got to think, you're 0-4. You really, really want this win. They're not going to make it easy.
No, of course not. It's been a close game. I mean, we see the goal here, 2K in favor of Gambit. It's all about those dragons and not limited. Charmed up here. Freeze does have his ulti. Worst case.
Oh, yep. Cabochard. He's actually going for the barrel. Whoa, Fate's Call to keep his support alive. Limited has been targeted quite a lot in these fights.
That did hurt the engage though from Copenhagen Wolves because normally they use it very offensively to throw Unlimited onto Gambit, and this time they won't be able to do it.
It also hurt the disengage though from Gambit as the barrel was thrown. So
true.
It all depends on which one's coming back up first. I think that'll be Gragas.
But in these fights, we just see how Freeze is staying alive, almost at full HP throughout the entire fight, except for the very end where Nick managed to get him in the last one. But it's so hard for Gambit to lock him down in these team fights, and he's only going to get stronger and stronger on this Kalista. It's only going to become harder and harder to actually kill him. And obviously full late game, we're going to see him sell that Hurricane, probably get a Phantom Dancer instead for just the maximum damage output he can do. But for now, Soren in this bottom lane, no real threat on the Baron. There's a lot of wards placed by Copenhagen Wolves to see it. And honestly, we haven't seen enough coordination to really bait it out from either of the teams just yet. Gambit waiting for that last dragon. They want to pick it up, and the Copenhagen Wolves already starting to set up a few wards around it. They need to be able to clear the pink wards placed by Gambit around it so they won't get flanked, because that's how Freeze might end up dying. If Nick comes in from behind, charms him, kills him instantly, Copenhagen Wolves are going to lose the fight straight away right there. So they have to make sure Gambit can't get the flank on them.
Certainly going to try. Now, Copenhagen Wolves have a couple of scaling threats. You mentioned the Kalista, Freeze. Soren is also one of those. And Gambit's composition, not necessarily the best for extremely long, drawn-out games. They will clear the Scuttle Crab away. It's still a minute until the dragon does come up, and now they're on the chase. Throw the barrel. Airwax is isolated, flashing away. Here comes Unlimited, however, trying to make the fight happen. Nick into the back line, gonna dash back into his team. Unlimited, he's gonna get pulled up. Youngbuck in the middle. That is what he needed. The Maelstrom there. Diamond is going to get picked off by Freeze. Very low are the Wolves right now, but Gambit have already lost their smite, and they might lose a little bit more in this.
They're going to lose a lot more because Dragon is spawning in 20 seconds.
They're still going to try to 4v5 this.
Oh.
Wait a minute, Unlimited's backing.
Diamond has the ulti now. He's up in 20 seconds. Teleport come in from Youngbucket. This is not over yet. Diamond is going to come as soon as he actually respawns. The Wolves staying on. They know he's going to return. That's why they actually recall, because the Dragon didn't spawn yet, and it's all about that Dragon here. Gambit can't fight like that. You don't like engage through a cannon and just through all the CC as well from the Wolves, because then you just get locked in like you saw Nick do, and he was forced out of it. In the end, Copenhagen was won the fight. Cabochard though, will try and get it.
Nope, not quite the steal. He does throw his big barrel out as well. So Copenhagen Wolves, they deny that 5th Dragon. They pick up their first of the game, and they've got the scaling factor on their side. Yeah. It's almost 36 minutes into this game, Deficio.
That Dragon
had for the Wolves?
Had a lot of value. It means a lot for the Wolves because they are really, really strong in these late game team fights, and we see Gambit not finding an answer unless they can instantly kill Freeze or Soren, and they won't be able to kill Soren with the Hourglass. So if they can get the flank, Gambit can win these late game team fights, and the Copenhagen Wolves simply will outscale them.
Gonna try to take whatever they can here, setting up a little bit of a brush bait as Unlimited does put the ward down to stop Gambit, or to at least see what Gambit is up to. They're actually going to march on forward here as Soren is leading the charge. Unlimited trying. He flashes after the Zenith Blade. They're still going to find the damage if they can. Diamond in the back by the Baron. They're dodging out every one of these skill shots the Wolves are throwing their way. Eddie, though, in a bit of trouble. Wild Growth down the denial. Do they have enough damage to pick him off? Not quite enough. Eddie finally goes down. Soren will find him around the backside. Pinoy, Diamond, and Cabochard are trying to find an answer back, but they just don't have the DPS.
Just no damage for Gambit. They actually got a charm onto Freeze here because they were waiting that small bush in the river, but there's not enough people around to actually go all in on him and kill him. Again, that's where obviously you wanted your DFG on an Ahri. But now the Copenhagen Wolves, they've survived the early game, got to late game, winning the last few team fights, denied that 5th Dragon from Gambit as well.
They're starting to
another H2K game, yeah.
I think this is starting to look that way. The Wolves have held on quite well. They've got themselves within 1,000 gold of Gambit Gaming. And even though they're down 3 Dragons here, there's still a lot of opportunity, a lot of time. We could be in for quite a long show, Deficio.
Could indeed. Not the first time either.
No, it wouldn't be.
But no Last Whisper yet for Pinoy. Actually delayed it quite a lot, even though he's against double Hourglass on the side of Copenhagen Wolves. And it's going to be about him actually trying to kill Youngbug once he gets out of that Hourglass. Obviously trying to kill Soren when he jumps in as well. So really need that Last Whisper for Pinoy. I'm going for it in this case, getting some magic resistance instead. And actually we don't have a Locket on the side of Gambit, despite being against a double AP comp. Especially against a cannon where you want to shut down his ulti damage, which is basically all he's going to bring in these team fights. The CC and the damage from his ulti. And no luck coming in. Very surprising actually.
On the subject of item builds, interesting choice of Boot Enchantment for Edward. He goes for the Captain. So they're trying to stay together, group up, win these team fights. But you know, the problem has not been their mobility or their angles. It's just when they get in there and spend their spells, they find they don't have enough damage.
Yeah, and they haven't been able to set up the proper team fight again. They haven't been able to get the flank. We saw Soren earlier in the game go very aggressive to just kill a pink ward, simply to deny Gambit that vision control and that flank option. That's where Copenhagen also played the team fights actually fairly well, always making sure they knew where Nick was when the fight started, so Freeze could stay safe in the back line. Diamond now sitting on a pink ward here. He wants to get behind the Wolves, but not exactly unlimited. He's not the target he wants.
It's getting harder and harder for Gambit to really defend even their own turf here, and they can poke it out. But look, you just see how tanky these members of Copenhagen Wolves are, particularly Unlimited.
Yeah, and again, even if he does drop low, Freeze is gonna pull him in and keep him alive. This Captain's Enchant on Eddie you talked about before is a little bit surprising. It's actually for better hiding from Gambit. Oh, Unlimited.
Oh!
Pulls him in.
They nearly blow him up, but here we go. He's still alive thanks to the Fate's call. And again, Copenhagen Wolves, they have so much disengage ability on this team that it's so hard for Gambit, even in the perfect situation, to capture them. For the price of 1 ultimate, they managed to not only spend 2 of Gambit's, but they don't even give them a kill.
Yeah, and the Wolves didn't even lose anything because they actually had set up a big minion push in the bottom lane. I guess they lost the pressure on the Baron, which is annoying enough, but they kept it. Well, they're going back to it now because Gambit had to go and clear a side wave. Nick is not this Baron here. Remember Kalista with her Rend. It stacks up to insane amounts of damage. Combine that with a smite, you can secure that Baron very easily. Nick is running, Pinoy is running. Copenhagen Wolves have enough time to clear this one.
Gambit have to
Wait
do
for
this
the
now.
damage.
Here comes Diamond. He's going to go in there, try to make it. No! Smited away by Airwax. Edward is in a little bit of trouble. So is Diamond. Kavashard will make his great escape, but Diamond is not so lucky. The chase is still on Soren, trying to dash his way out of the barrel. Still eats it, but not quite enough damage there. The Wolves managed to secure that Baron as well as a kill. 40 minutes into this game, and they've got themselves a gold lead.
This right here is why it's so important that you set up these slow pushes in the side lanes late game, because that big wave being built up had Nick going over to wave cleared, and that bought enough time for the Copenhagen Wolves to go in and take the Baron. However, Gambit should never been in that situation. You have teleport on a Gragas. Once you see that wave being built up, you send him bottom lane already so he can clear it out in time before it becomes a problem, and this happened. But Diamond here goes in, tries to smite steal it, but against Rend and obviously the smite from Airwax, it's nearly impossible for him to get this Baron.
He goes so early into this pit too, and they just try to double up on the damage, but the Rend procs combined with that smite, you're right, just so much damage. You had to try to make the play, but at this point the Wolves are just starting to get more and more ahead. And Gambit, they don't have the focus, they don't have the single target burst. They can't really do much now that we've entered the late game. And if the Wolves pick up another Dragon, it's getting really, really worrying for Gambit.
Yeah, simply being outscaled. But Diamond did the only thing he could do. You have to go in early against Kalista because you know she's going to do like 2k damage or 1500 damage on that bounce. You have to go in early to try and steal it. But this Dragon here, again, Gambit looking for the 5th one.
Yep.
Can they get it? It's a bit risky by Copenhagen Wolves to start it.
It's going over, nope. With the Kalista, Rend procs, they're able to do it unlimited, and Soren a little bit low in this one. And they again can disengage this, but here comes Airwalks. They go right back in for round number 2. Where did Eddie go? Back to Fountain for him. Nick is going to pick up a kill, or excuse me, he is going to pick up a kill, but is he going to stay alive? Yes, he is. A double, in fact. So they do get a 2 for 3, but again, the Dragon goes over to the Wolves. Still balls in their court.
Yeah, again, deny that 5th Dragon from Gambit from the Copenhagen Wolves. Let's see it again. So they actually start up the Dragon here. Again, you have the Rend stacks from the Kalista, so they feel like they can secure it. But does allow Gambit to get a bit of poke onto them. And then engage. Cover shot again. He's full tank Gragas, not the target you want. And before they actually see Eddie being a little bit overextended, then they go for him. But they leave Nick alone. They leave Pinoy alone in the start. Let's just see it again. Onto Eddie and Nick here. Nick managed to dash away, I believe. And Pinoy, for now, trying to clean up. And actually, in the end, Gambit winning the fight. But lost the Dragon again. And obviously Freeze just dancing around like he wants to on this Kalista.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to touch Freeze, and he's been really standing out quite a lot. There's also the ever-present threat of Soren. You know, he's so mobile at this point. The Lich Bane on. Whenever he gets his Zhonya's on, even if you jump on him, it's so hard to finish him off. Also, Young Buck's been getting more and more effective the more the game's gone on as well. Able to get right in the middle of those fights. I feel like that was a bit of a questionable re-engage from the Wolves, but even though they traded 3 for 2, they got the Dragon. It's not the end of the world. And there's really nothing Gambit can take off of that.
No, exactly. Gambit has to go back after anyway. And now once again, let's look at the side lanes from the Copenhagen Wolves. If they want to start pushing up, you're going to get them side lanes going. Top 1 is actually dead even at the moment. And Kabusha this time around, going down to stop the push early. Make sure the wave doesn't get built up so the Wolves can go and take it and push the top lane or bottom lane territory with it.
Now the Wolves looking towards the mid lane, but there is quite a lot of defense there from Gambit Gaming to push this one off. Looks like we're at a bit of a stalemate for now. However, the Wolves still having a pretty strong team fight. The real threat now seems to be on Nick's Ahri. If he's able to keep alive and keep kiting around, there's just a lot of sustained damage potential if he does manage to get into the back line. Airwax not keen on giving that one to him, neither unlimited. Gambit's going to have to back away. They can't push too far out.
Yeah, all Copenhagen was did here was just buy time because Soren actually went bot lane, got the wave pushing, and now you can see them rotate from mid to the bottom side. So they know they can't just straight up walk in and just kill a tower. They have to respect the damage from Gambit, and obviously only Kalista will be able to take it down. So that's why they're waiting again for the side lanes. Look at them on the minimap. Top lane is building up, bottom lane as well.
Look at that gold graph, though. For the longest time, Gambit was in the lead, but we saw it dwindle just at the 40-minute mark.
And this is a problem for Gambit now because they're not reacting to the side lanes, which means Copenhagen Wolves can now move over there, take the big wave, get quite some damage on this tower. Only Pinoy is here to try and wave clear it. Obviously with... No, actually Freeze was staying behind for no reason at all, so they didn't get any tower damage.
Yeah,
Pretty sure why Freeze was not following his team here.
Bit of a misstep here, but all the same, the Wolves have time on their side. Gambit's time is starting to run out. And here we go, Eddie. He might be a little bit sooner for that one. He does get away. He's forced to use the Wild Growth on himself. The Wolves have a chance to push this one in. Not the largest of minion waves. However, it'll do for now if they want to take it, though. Nick, Diamond in the threatening position, chasing them off yet again. However, there's still a lot of minions up in the top side.
Yeah, those minions should be able to take the tower, at least do a lot of damage to it, while Copenhagen will keep Gambit busy. Kamshad is moving up there, opening up a potential dive from the Copenhagen Wolves while he has to teleport down, which obviously takes the 3 or 4 seconds. But Soren is too low. Again, you don't want to risk it. Wild Growth from Malulu. Yeah. For now, Gambit can use the teleport to actually defend. Obviously, Copenhagen Wolves have to go back. We're going to have to wait for the next Baron.
Or the next Dragon.
Or the next Dragon. I mean, we could see Gambit try and trade the Baron for the Dragon. And just have Copenhagen Wolves set up the vision again around the Baron. Get it, and then at the same time, Gambit walk straight down, pick up the 5th Dragon. And then you won't be stronger in terms of pushing because of the minions. Oh, sorry, the split pushing because of the minions. But you're going to have that 30% tower damage. You're going to be stronger in the team fight because of obviously the extra AP and AD, the true damage you do. And that's how Gambit could then potentially look for a late game team fight. Win that team fight with the 5th Dragon. And that's how you secure the game. Because otherwise, the fights will just keep going like we've seen the last 20 minutes. Copenhagen will dictate the map, dictate the fights, and it's all about them.
Yeah, this has been a pretty interesting day of matches. Kind of surprised that after watching how short the Elements game was, this one is the one that ends up going really, really long. So normally we'd see a lot of that kind of stuff switched around, but the Wolves are adopting this slow and steady strategy themselves. After finding themselves very, very far behind in the beginning, they've evened up the gold, dead to rights here. Dragon's up in 30 seconds. If they can grab this 3rd one, they've got an extra mobility on their side. But actually, they're able to push on this bottom right now while the rest of Gambit are occupied with the Baron. This is an interesting trade scenario.
Yeah, this is not smart by Gambit. You're going to basically allow Copenhagen Wolves now to get an inhibitor in the bot lane and open up here. Even Eddie.
Yep, Eddie's already down. Cabochard, can he even get away? No. 3 members with the Baron buff. Soren is going to pop his hourglass off. Do they have the damage? Not quite. This inhibitor is open for business. Can the Wolves finish it off? It looks like they'll have the damage. Gambit on the ropes here. Even though 3 members have the Baron buff, it'll help them counteract the siege a bit more, but they gave up a lot, you're right.
Yeah, and they won't get the Dragon either because Copenhagen Wolves are going to go down and take it now. I don't think that trade was worth it for Gambit at all. What you had to... Basically what you've been doing for the last few minutes is just sitting on wave clearing and not allowing the Copenhagen Wolves to take down these towers for free. So you could actually force them again to try and break into your base where you can get some good poke, maybe punish them if they overextend, and instead, by Gambit taking their Baron, you lose again the potential 5th Dragon, and you just lost your inhibitor.
Yeah, Gambit's still roving around the map trying to grab a little bit back. They do secure that blue buff for Nick Unlimited, though, leading the charge of the Wolves. And Gambit are scattering from the pack.
Lichbane for Cabochard now. That's not going to do him a whole lot in terms of damage output. I mean, obviously, there's the Gragas combination where you have obviously your W, Drunken Rage, get the extra damage, you get your Lichbane proc, but he's never going to reach anyone in the back line on this Gragas, so I actually feel like
got another pause.
Once you commit to the tanky route, stick to it. I mean, get him maybe a Thornmail against the Callista. Lichbane this late, it's not going to do him a whole lot.
Yeah, I feel like they've been a little bit backed into a corner here because, you know, the last time we saw Gragas, this was a bit ago, of course, in the top lane, it was a little bit more focused on the soft CC. You know, you saw the Iceborne Gauntlet being picked up. Of course, that was a very early item. This time around, he does need a little bit more damage. The whole team needs a little bit more damage. The problem is they're pretty much maxed out on items. I mean, this is the situation where you start thinking about, oh, do I sell the boots for the Zephyr in the bot lane? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, the problem is when you're going to get outscaled and you're then, again, building tank on your Gragas, it really limits the time you have to actually win the game. because once the 2 damage dealers from your team is not enough to take down a key target, let's say Youngbuck going in on the cannon, or even Leona jumping in before she gets pulled back by Freeze, well, then you can't really teamfight properly because you can't dive the backline even though you have a tanky Gragas, because he's not going to do enough on his own. And that's simply where Gambit had to win this game in the mid game when they're building like they're doing now. So you would have their good start on a tanky Gragas, so he would be unkillable. And then obviously Ari could create the picks. Lucian could be strong in the mid game. But once they basically fell apart and Copenhagen was started to get back in the game, your tank now doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, it's not even a full tank too. You're kind of soft in that regard too. But it is a little bit weird. Gambit really looking for that like big
start on a tanky Gragas, so he would be unkillable. And then obviously Ari could create the picks. Lucian could be strong in the mid game. But once they basically fell apart and Copenhagen was started to get back in the game, your tank now doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, it's not even a full tank too. You're kind of soft in that regard too. But it is a little bit weird. Gambit really looking for that like big monster fight, and they'll see if they can possibly get it coming back into this one. But it's so hard against the Wolves as we jump back into game. Very low kill score on a note as well. The Wolves have managed to thunder back a little bit more the longer this game has gone. However, it's so difficult for either team to really make a game-winning push, minus a massive mistake. Gambit, they made one there with the inhibitor being lost in the bottom side, trading it for the Baron, but they have a small window to work with these super minions and see if they can make use of them.
Yeah, I won't really be able to use them too much as they're sitting back and defending anyway. Sorry, Nick is sitting ready.
So is Unlimited.
Limited, yeah.
Looks like we might actually have a fight on our hands, Deficio, but not quite yet. Nick's going to be able to clear out most of those minions with just a couple of spells, and here come the rest of Gambit.
Yeah, so Copenhagen was going to the top lane because they know the super minions in the bottom lane is going to push in, so you want to make sure Gambit has to walk from the Nexus all the way to the top lane to defend.
Oh!
Nick just jumped out of it.
Blade. He gets charmed. I have not seen that before. That is cool.
Yeah, but Nick got to use his ulti, so that's gone.
Oh, they're going to dash. Here we go. Oh, my goodness. Where is he? Fate's call. They're going to find Diamond. Do they have the damage unlimited? Walking away from this one as Soren pops his Zanya's. Eddie is down. Freeze will secure that kill as Soren chases down Diamond for another. They've found 2. Can they keep pushing? The Wolves. Youngbuck is now backing away from this one. If they decide to keep going, it would be a 4v3. Actually, teleport coming on in. They have to get back. Gambit. There are super minions pushing on their Nexus turrets in just a moment.
Yeah, the Copenhagen was looking for more here. Oh, Youngbuck charm.
He's caught up. Ooh, very, very low in this one. Pinoy, not quite enough damage to take him down. And Gambit, the woes continue. They just don't have the finishing power on any of these. Youngbuck's going to have to back away again, but super minions now are here. Cabochard is forced to go back. And Youngbuck actually isn't even leaving this one. They're going to just use the numbers that they have. Nick, oh, he's going to get a charm off. Freeze, incredibly low, walking into the tower laser. That's going to prompt the Copenhagen Wolves to leave, and Cabochard could not defend Nexus turret number 1. But at least they've got a wave pushing in the middle.
They do indeed. Not going to do a whole lot for them. And Copenhagen Wolves more
teleport coming in.
Teleport, wow, chasing this one.
Cabochard, not quite enough connection. Whoa! All sorts of weird interactions there. He threw himself into Airwax kick. And now Nick gonna try to get in. Nope, not quite enough. Here comes the Rek'Sai ultimate as well. Tunnel, they're not quite close enough. And the Solar Flare will not burn anything but the grass as the Wolves again try to chase in Soren. Not enough damage onto Cabochard as Nick and the rest of the team will disengage.
Will disengage. This is the gold here for Copenhagen.
I feel like I'm saying that a lot this game.
Yeah, happens a few times at least. A lot of gold for Copenhagen Wolves, but we get to that point where everyone is starting to get maxed out in items. And we just see Unlimited. I mean, this is a full tank Leona. There's no Mikhails to try and help out Freeze, even though the only way he can actually die is by basically being charmed. He just has the Banshee to protect himself. And we did see, as we talked about earlier, how Hurricane is what you have to carry you through like the mid-game parts. But then you sell it late game and you get the Phantom Dancer, so you have the maximum single target damage output from this Kalista now. Obviously also supplying some crit for that Vintage. You didn't have it before. Now, sitting on a lot of it.
What do you think Freeze picks up next? I think he ends up going for the Zephyr. It's got so much kiting power.
Honestly, most AD carries prefer to keep the boots just for the enchant they have on it. They're giving that extra mobility and actually just want the Zephyr. The Zephyr is a very small DPS increase overall. So no, I don't actually think it's worth it for him, and I think he's going to keep the boots anyway. We'll have to see. I mean,
Next standing on the base gate here. Yeah, they're just trying to shore up some defenses as their inhibitor does come back up, but they're down to one Nexus turret here. This is the natural weak point. Can the Wolves get in unlimited? Gonna eat a charm. Fate's call to keep him alive again as Freeze is going to push him out.
So
they have to
annoying.
use that one defensively. Yeah, that is gotta be frustrating if you're Gambit.
there's so many times where you think you can actually pick off Leona and then nope, pull it into the team from Freeze every single time. That's obviously why Unlimited is playing so aggressive as well. Staying so far forward, knowing he has that safety. Freeze is pulling him in. I do want to see actually Freeze wants the QSS instead of that Banshee's late game, get the Scimitar. But I do understand why he wants the Banshee, because Gragas obviously will be able to always knock him with his ulti to the team, and that's why he's sitting on that Banshee for now, to make sure that ulti from Cabochard won't do anything to him.
They're looking for a flank here through the base gate. It's going to be so difficult for them to do it, though. Fate's Call still not available, so they have a small window to act. However, Unlimited's got that Solar Flare up. Youngbuck a little bit low, but Soren is covering him. Naked Inhibitor still sitting here, and the Wolves just can't find a way in, but there are minions on the top side. Pinoy unleashes the culling, and now Diamond going to duel it out with Soren, but he's taking far worse than he's giving there. And now the Wolves just have the option to go straight for Dragon, and it looks like they will.
They will indeed go straight down for this Dragon here. Gambit is not done yet. Diamond still have ulti. Eddie?
Oh, they're going in. Here we go. Youngbuck a little bit too early on that Maelstrom. Can he go down? No. There is the Zanya's Hourglass's Pinoy. Is isolated, picked off by Freeze. Diamond now. The big shutdown goes over to Nick, but Diamond is going to also find Airwax, so it is a 2-for-1. The Wolves have not quite got this fight just yet. And we continue.
And we continue again, like ulti's missing left and right here. Nice little play by Unlimited and Freeze chasing Pinoy, and again grabbing Unlimited, throwing at Pinoy here. End up killing him, and Freeze, he's not afraid, he can still stay around. And
Gambit has the smite advantage here.
Yeah, but Copenhagen Wolves are not going to allow them to start that Dragon, because Freeze still full HP.
They're going to try it. Diamond's going to worm his way in to the pit, see if they can actually do something here. While
Unlimited is ulti again.
Yeah, Unlimited, he's just about ready for it. It looks like as soon as the proc will be available. Fate's Call's not quite up. Here we go, the Solar Flare. The Dragon, all forgotten as Soren is going to go golden, and there is going to be Copenhagen Wolves peeling them off the Dragon. It goes down to Freeze with the Ren proc, no smite required, and he pulls Unlimited, pushes him onto Cabochard. Can they take this 2v3, however? So far, they're making it not look too bad. Freeze, shut down, Diamond and Nick, they'll find the double kill. They've got the ace. The death timers are so high. Youngbuck and Airwax are about to come back up, however, and nobody on Gambit, they can't really do much with this.
No, again, it was all about that Dragon, so you saw Freeze stop hitting Gambit and just go straight for that Dragon, pick it up. 4-4 now. We're going to have 9 Dragons in this game. And honestly, first time we see Gambit get to Freeze. They got the kill. So again, let's see the fight. So Freeze is staying around with Unlimited and Soren because he's still on full HP. It's all about that Dragon. Don't give the 5th one over to Gambit. They go in once the Solar Flare was ready. Pick up Eddie here, but doesn't manage to get Nick. And that's when now Freeze is tanking the Dragon, tanking Diamond as well. And you just see him putting focus on that one. Back away in the very end, but Cabochard will have his ulti again. Ends up killing Freeze after he gets a kill. And now down to Pippi in the left corner, you see Gambit starting the Baron.
Yeah, actually nearly finishing, and it looks like they will manage to take that one down. Pinoy actually getting the finishing strike on it. So Gambit again buying themselves some time in this game. It is 4-4 in Dragon. The gold, well, we could talk about it, but at this point, it just doesn't matter.
No, I mean, again, we are so close to full items on all the carry champions in the game.
On every champion in the game.
Yeah.
Just about.
Unlimited just fully stacked up on this Leona. We're going to see Alexius coming in. I do have a feeling we might have to wait a good 5 minutes for next Dragon. And then whoever gets the 5th one really get the edge and can try and close out this game.
Well, there is a Baron on Gambit's side. They have a chance to push this one in, and they had that inhibitor respawn. A pretty big wave in the top side now. They are grouping up in the middle. Again, Gambit, they want to win this game. They want to get on the board. The Wolves want to get another on the board, and both teams really can't afford to lose this one. So it's going to get a drawn-out slugfest now. Here we go. Diamond, he's going to move forward. They just don't have anything, and it's going to be Unlimited finally going down. They've managed to pop him on this one. They take the turret. They can take the inhibitor. Gambit, they've turned up the heat. Where did this come from? They can just keep going now. The death timers is so long, it's going to be a 5v4 for over a minute. You're right, Deficio. They can take this out and get two in one fell swoop, and Copenhagen Wolves can't do anything about this.
But what on earth did the Copenhagen Wolves just do? Youngbuck was running from the top lane, and they just randomly throw Unlimited into Gambit, start a fight without being 5 guys in the late game. Unlimited obviously dies. Gambit still trying to push down. They have no super minions, haven't gotten there yet, but they do have the buffed up minions from the Baron buff.
Yeah, and they also have their Baron buff themselves. So here we go. It's still going to be that 5v4 starting to fire down the Nexus turrets. Mistakes get so punished in this late stage of the game. Cabochard going back in. Youngbuck, he is going to go big, and they find 2 more kills. This time, it is the Wolves who turn it around. Diamond trying to distract the team, so Nick stays alive, but can he make it out? Pinoy is still making his great escape. Nick is going to go down in just a moment. Pinoy is trying to make his escape as well. He's the only man left standing. Death timers are just so long. It's been so back and forth. And now the Wolves have a big chance, and they make their way, albeit a little bit slowly and scattered, up to Gambit's base. But Pinoy with the outplay. Can he find Freeze? No, I don't think so. Renproc for the ace.
But he did buy a lot of time here, so Copenhagen Wolves didn't actually go straight for the Nexus. Not even sure they actually could have finished. There's still a long time on these death times.
Yeah,
if Freeze just ran straight to the base. There's even minions coming with airwax here. Soren already got the inhibitor down. Freeze is still very far away. I mean, the Copenhagen Wolves could just have left. By a lot of time here, so Copenhagen Wolves didn't actually go straight for the Nexus. Not even sure they actually could have finished. There's still a long time on these death times.
Yeah,
if Freeze just ran straight to the base. There's even minions coming with airwax here. Soren already got the inhibitor down. Freeze is still very far away. I mean, the Copenhagen Wolves could just have left Kennen to defend and then try and finish. They go for it anyway.
Yeah, they're actually,
they got it.
For a moment, they take this one up. Yeah, they should be able to grab this. It's still 15 seconds away. So after just about an hour, the Copenhagen Wolves outlive and outlast Gambit Gaming to get game number 2 on the board.
What a game. I mean,
that's all you can say, really. What a game.
Yeah. So back and forth here.
And frustration.
And we didn't even get that Dragon number 9. Nobody
no, we didn't. You know, it's the caster curse. Everything we've been saying today is wrong, of course.
I mean,
well done, though. It took the Wolves quite some time to get in back.